Hello, Warriors. This is Michael Hummel. I'm the host of Empowering Discussions with a Disabled Man and the founder of Wheels and Warriors. My guest today is Tanya Gonzalez. Tanya grew up in Ecuador. She began to travel and found much more in the world than she knew. Her family and God are most important to her. She now helps people that want to live and work in Canada. When she joins, we will start the conversation. Hello, Tanya. Have you and have you asked to join yet? I didn't see it. Come on in. There we go. Hello.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm just fine, thank you.
Good.
I was doing here like some silly dance and
What was that?
yeah, I was just having fun, a little bit of fun
Oh,
before,
okay.
after a long day of work.
Oh yeah, I
So,
get it. Yeah.
yeah, so I can be, ready for you and to talk and, to be in good mood and
Yeah.
high spirit. How are
Yeah.
you?
I'm good. Thank you. I've been looking forward to this. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I like Fridays. My favorite days, I always say it, are Mondays and Fridays. Mondays because I start the week, new start, and Fridays because it's like, what, I already worked my week. I did the best I could, and then, I just want to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
So Fridays are good.
Decompress. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. How
I
about
like.
you? How are
Um, I don't really have a favorite day. I think that they're all the same to me. I guess Saturdays and Sundays are the best because I just get to spend them with my wife, and not have to worry about anything else.
you? Yeah, well, that's good, right? That makes it
Yeah,
different.
yeah, that does make it better. Yeah.
That's right. You're in the US, right?
Yes, I'm in U.S. I'm in Las Vegas.
Okay, I went to Las Vegas many years ago. I had a great time. I liked it. I liked to, to tour the hotels and all that. I really didn't like at night, when everybody was already kind of like going to the hotels or to rest, and there were people still playing till any time, and they looked so focused on playing. Yeah,
Hmm.
that like gave me, I don't know, a weird feeling because I don't like to play. I don't like to gamble in machines. So, but the city was amazing, like the infrastructure and the buildings and the hotels and the shows. Oh, wow. I am really looking forward to go back to it one
My
day.
wife just took me to see Love for my birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
How was
that was great. I had seen it in '07, but I
okay.
know they changed it a lot, like often. So that was a lot of fun.
I'm gonna share something with you that happened to me in one of the hotels there in Las Vegas. In
Okay.
that one that it's like a Neil, like the one, the tall one, similar to the one that we have here in Ontario, in Toronto. Okay, so I filled up the tub, and I was so excited because I got a very nice room, and I poured too much of shampoo because I didn't have the bubble thing. So I poured so much of shampoo, and that thing, started to go like crazy, and I just got scared, and got off the tub and started like trying to contain all the water and foam going out everywhere. I tried to contain it with towels and all that. That's a very sad story about my first night in Las Vegas. But after that, I had lots of fun. It was great. It's a really beautiful city.
It is. I mean, it's. I'm. I've been here 20 years. I'm growing. It's growing on me, but it's taking 20 years to do that. To me,
Okay.
it's a dirt. It's just dirt,
Yeah.
and I'm not a big gambler.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
like I don't like, whatever.
Yes.
Um, I love Cedar City in Utah.
Oh, okay. Never been there.
Utah is one of my favorite places,
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
from, but I wouldn't. It's just I like London more than the city.
Oh, okay.
I'm a low-key kind of guy. I like to be relaxed and slow and not a lot of people.
Oh, okay. And I'm gonna tell you something. And Alex is here. She's a very good friend. I love you, Alex.
Yeah,
And
Alex.
one day he was talking about something, and it came to my mind because sometimes we have. It's a good exercise to look all things with new eyes, because even people that lives in Paris gets tired of it, right? And
Yeah,
but if you really take a time, like you can find so many beautiful things in what's old, and what you think it's old. It's more that you are so used to it that you sometimes miss the beauty of it. The beauty, the complexity.
yeah.
So maybe, it's just a matter of kind of like give it a new look.
My about perspective. So it's just how you look at things, and I definitely need to change how I look at things.
Yeah, maybe. Great.
So, do you have any questions for me?
Okay, yeah, I thought about a couple ones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask you something. Okay.
Okay.
Because you said, when we were kind of like discussing about when you invited me and you were so kind to invite me, you told me, well, these conversations are about to make people aware of, how it's to be disabled.
Yeah.
And you can ask things about, curious things that you're curious about it. And so I thought about something. Let's suppose that you have a speaker, like a gigantic speaker that everybody in the world will listen. What would you like to say to people about people that experience some sort of disabled?
Just well, first of all, treat them like each. We don't like to be treated differently. Um, so speak to us the same as you would anybody else. Approach us the same. If if you think we need help, ask us before you actually do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't, because I've been like, people have come up to me and start helping me without asking, and then to me that's a personal space issue. So like, I rather ask me, let me say no, thank you, fine.
Mm-hmm.
So especially treat everyone the same, and just don't assume that we can't do something, we don't know something, or we can't speak or move a certain way, or do a certain thing, or don't be surprised when we can drive a car,
Mm-hmm.
or we have almost normal, almost completely regular lives that everyone else has.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, that's a beautiful message, and what you are doing with your program, and I checked some of your videos. It's really important because you are creating awareness. You are letting the rest of the people know what do you feel, how do you feel things, and the only way to create appreciation is through knowledge.
Yeah,
If I don't know, how can I act in a way that you will feel supported. So I think that this program that you are doing is really valuable, and I just have to congratulate you because you are doing it. You've been doing it for some time now, and you are being constant, right?
yeah.
And that's one of the questions. Also, I wanted to ask you, like, yes, of course, there's gonna be things that are gonna be different, right, from someone who is not experiencing a disability and
Yeah.
someone who is experiencing it.
Hmm.
But in your experience, talk about something that you found that it's the same, that you've made so many interviews, so you probably identify some things that are the same, like for you and for anybody else. And also, if you don't mind, share things that you say, well, this is different. I experienced this type of things in a very different way.
Um, well, everything is slightly different because you have to adapt. Walking and rolling are two sides of the same coin. It's just I have a wheelchair coming out of my butt. That's pretty much it. Uh, it's just it's things are different. They're just, you have to adapt, and understand that these things, yes, they're different. They're not hard though, and they can't be overcome or they can't be challenged or changed or adapted to.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's slightly different, but it needs to be reworked. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I can walk, but I walk with crutches. So even that is slightly different because I'm slower, and most of the time I use my chair because it's just after a while my back starts hurting, and it's just easier. Um, and like I said, I drive, but I have hand controls, so even that's slightly different. So everything
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit different here and there. And what was the second part of the question?
And what do you find similar? Similar, like something that you experience, and from what you've heard in your interviews or in your interactions, it's the same thing. Like no
Uh,
big difference.
yeah, there's nothing really that's the same thing. It's just they're just slightly different. They're less different than people think.
Okay.
I think they just assume that because we're disabled, life is just very different from them,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes that is the case, but not oftentimes, and definitely not with my experience.
Okay. Okay, that's very nice. And yeah, and for me, like, uh, those were two things that I, wanted to ask. But besides of that, I want to know you better. I want to know you, and if you have things that you want to know about me, and I don't have any specific questions. I just want to have a conversation with you and
Good.
have fun. And yes,
I'm looking forward to this. So you live in Canada.
yes, I live in Canada.
I've never been to Canada.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. I think it's a little bit different when you were born in a country. It's kind of like you take it for granted, right?
Hmm.
I was born here. This is my country, and sometimes you're even a little bit harsh with your country because it's your own. Sometimes, like with your family, it's your family, and sometimes you're hard with them, harder than with the rest of the people. But when you kind of like go through a long way to obtain a permanent residence, and then the citizenship, and you go through a process and you experience all the the difficulties in adapting and changing, and the difference in environment and all that, you learn to appreciate even more the place that welcome you. So I really love Canada. I love the place that I live in Toronto, and I just feel like I was placed in the right city. This is what I imagined many years ago when I imagined my life in the future. I was thinking in something like this. I'm a very type of city girl. I'm not really much into, and Canada has a beautiful nature, and I enjoy it by, like, for little time, for short trekkings and things like that. As long as I can go back to the hotel and have a nice bed, that's
Yeah.
it. So I enjoy Toronto. I love it. So yes, and I love Canada. It is a great country, and my kids were born here. I work here. Most of my life, the people I love, my friends, a part of my family. Very few family I have, but I have family here. So I love this country. That doesn't mean that I don't love my country where I was born, Ecuador. I love it. And I don't have conflict, I can love both countries. And I live in the US for some time, and I love the US too. It was a great country for me. I lived in Orlando, in Florida. I studied there. Yes, when I arrived as an international student, I
Hmm.
went to Orlando, and I had the greatest time. I had time for myself. I didn't have kids at that time. I was focused on my studies. Disney, like, I love going to Disney. I love going to the parks. So I really had a great time in the US, and I love the US. So every place where you live, I
Hmm.
think you live a little bit of yourself there.
Oh
So
yeah,
there's no way you don't love it.
I agree with that. Yeah, I've been to Florida a few times, but last time I was there was 1996, so it's been a minute. Um, I'm from Long Island, New York, and we
Mm-hmm.
used to go up to uh, upstate New York. So like I was right on the border of Canada and North America, but I've never actually gone to Canada. I've always wanted to, and my wife wants to do the cruise.
Okay,
She
yes.
heard it's beautiful. Well,
Mhm.
yeah, so I've been looking forward to that. Wondering how it's going to be. But the only thing I know about Canada is the Blue Jays and the Raptors.
Oh my God, now you are getting into unknown waters for me. I'm so bad at sports. I know nothing about sports. Like I would say yes, just to not be embarrassed. I was like, yes, good. Go Jets, go whatever. I'm not really into sports, like not really. Mhm.
Oh, what kind of lawyer are you?
I graduated as a lawyer in Ecuador, so I'm an Ecuadorian lawyer.
Okay.
And then when I moved to Canada, I obtained my license to practice in immigration. So I practice immigration law here
Okay.
in Canada, and I work as an immigration consultant. So people who wants to live in Canada to start. I work a lot with students, with international students, like as me, they want to come and undertake studies here in this country. So I assist them, and it's kind of like assisting myself because I made lots of mistakes and I
Yeah.
spend unnecessary money and so I use my experience and I also use the experience I've acquired for the last 14 years of
Okay.
working in this field. So yes, I'm an immigration law, practicing immigration law.
When you help people in Canada who want to work and live there, what does that process look like?
When someone wants to work
Yeah,
here in
live and work, live and work.
Okay, this is funny because you know what? I just had a live with one of the colleges that we work, and
Mhm.
many of the people attending that live were asking the same questions. So I feel like I'm in an extension of the live now, but it's valid. People wants to know. It depends a lot on certain factors. I will have to identify where you're coming from because people from the U.S., for example, and from Mexico, they can use what is called CUSMA, which is what we used to know as NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. Now
Yeah.
it's called CUSMA. So you have access to this treaty, and by abiding to that treaty, you are exempt from some requirements which are very harsh. You will not have to present an LMIA, a labor market impact assessment, which is a document kind of difficult to find because the employer needs to demonstrate that there is no person here in Canada, in the region, in the city that can make your work. So you can imagine that it's difficult to demonstrate that situation. So for the people, for the rest of the world, that's normally the case. If they want to come to work to Canada, they need to find an employer, they need to find a job offer, and the employer needs to demonstrate that he has been having issues to hire a person with that profile. So that way, they can get the LMIA and support the person's application for the work permit. So it's kind of like a complex process, and but yeah, it's possible, especially if you have a very specific type of abilities and there's need for it here in Canada. The employer will do what it takes to bring you. So yes, so it's kind of like that.
Oh, very cool.
Are you planning to come and work here?
No, no.
Okay.
Um, okay. Another question. I'd like to visit Canada, but I've always heard that it's very cold.
Oh, but that's depending. Like, we have good 4 months of great weather. The rest maybe.
Or well,
No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. But yeah, it's a little bit cold. We are the Great North, right? Of course, it's gonna be cold, but
yeah.
it's not cold all year round. It's not like in Ecuador or the rest of countries of Latin America that it's an eternal spring. We are all year round. We have 17 degrees over there. So that's why we are very sensitive to changes in weather. It's a little bit hot and I need to take like my sweater and all. It's a little bit cold and I need to put a jacket on. It's because we have very steady weather. Here it's more extreme. But it's probably, I don't know, Las Vegas can be a little bit cold. Of course, not even close, but it's kind of like you have to learn to dress. And that's something that is always going to be an issue for people, especially if you come from a tropical country.
Yeah.
I always joke and I tell my kids, I'm a tropical fish. So you don't want to take me to, to the cold outside because I'll die. And they just laugh. They love the winter, and they practice the little things that kids do here. So there's people who really loves cold. Try to come in these months, which are great. We have great weather right now.
I do like the cold. I mean, it's funny. I like the cold more than the heat. Vegas is always hot. It's like, and when it's not hot, it's very windy. So it has the two sides of the same coin. It's definitely hard to reconcile and figure out what is going on because it goes from one day to the next. Mm.
Well, yeah.
Um.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Yeah, okay.
In Quito, the city where I used to live, you have to go out in the morning with a jacket. Then
Hmm.
you have to have a t-shirt underneath because at midday it's gonna be so hot, and you have to always take your umbrella because it's gonna rain for sure in the afternoon. So just saying, if you ever go.
I went on a trip with my parents to California, and I forgot what part of California we were in, but like during the day, there my father was burning and hot and sweating, and after noon, it was like he needed to actually get a windbreaker because it was freezing, but his butt off. So
Mhm.
it changed a lot.
Yeah, that's normal. That's normal.
Um, Talk to me a little bit about your relationship with your family and God,
Mm,
like how important that is to you.
yeah. Well, with my family, I think that maybe cultural, it may be my upbringing, whatever, but I really am close to them. Like, I'm always gonna be, they're always gonna be in my mind, and I'm always gonna have a close relationship to them. When you are from a country like Latin America, family is a big thing. They are like your backbone, right? That's why you hear so much, family, family, familia. Yes, because we are very close to our families. That's our kind of like support system. Here in
Hmm.
North America, there's a different support system. It's your community. It's different. Latin American countries and many other countries besides, first world countries, we kind of like are survival societies. So we don't really have much protection from the governments, and it's like your family are the ones that help you either to, if there are moments of need, they're gonna help you financially, or if there are moments when you need to find a job, it's your circle, your very close circle, the ones that are gonna facilitate that. And so and even living arranges. It's very normal that we live in our homes, in our family homes, until we get married. That's what happened with me. I lived with my mother until I got married, and I remember that once I tried to leave, to leave my family, my mother's home, and I wanted to go and live by myself. Literally, my mom almost died. She was like, but what I've done to you? Why do you want to leave? I'm giving you everything. You are welcome here until you are 40. So it's kind of like that very close relationship that we have. So of course I have these ties, very close ties with my family.
Hmm.
But the fact that I've been, living and spending so much time outside, of course, that has an impact. And there was a time when I would speak with my mom like pretty much every day.
Hmm.
Now, not so often. Life changes. Sometimes parents stop understanding your circumstances. Sometimes they do not agree as much as they used to. So all that affects. But still, like my idea of family is love, support, and so I have a wonderful family, and I know that nothing is perfect, and I know their flaws, but overall, I feel very proud of being part of my family, like my mother, my brother, my father, and also my extended family. Because something that we also have is that family for us is not only father, mother, and siblings.
Hmm.
Family is everyone that we are related somehow.
Yeah.
So we call sisters and brothers, and we are very close, and I have wonderful memories about all of them. And God, well, my mom was never too pushy in the sense that we're Catholic, and but she was never too pushy in the sense that taking me to mass or things like that. She was like, this like she would introduce me to religion, like practices and rituals and all that, but she was never much into that. She believes in God, I believe in God, but I've always had this thing to, a spiritual search beyond religion. So I do have a religion which I'm very comfortable with, but I'm not close to any other type of belief. As long, has those fundamental things about goodness and about respect to each other and about loving each other. Like I believe every belief, religion belief is fine. And I found very interesting things in different religions. Especially now that I started some time ago, I started to in this journey to meditate. I got more information about Hinduism and Buddhism, and they are great religions as well. So I'm not defined only by that, but yes, I always had this search for spirituality, even when I was very young. I remember when I was around 15 years old, I was in what it's a non-denominational school. And my father, he's agnostic. So my mother was like, okay, whatever you want. But I told them, you know what, I want to go, I need to get closer to my spiritual side. And I was 15 years old. So I switched schools and I went by myself, and none of them were like that supporting. Not for any specific reason. They just didn't want to buy me new uniforms and new stuff. So they were like, why do you want to change schools? You are doing good in the school you are. And I was like, well, let me try. And they were like, okay, but you will have to do it all by yourself. So I went, I find the school, and right now one of my classmates, it's in this life, which
Oh, wow.
it's great. Yeah, it's Alexandra. Love her. And so I changed myself. Like I did the whole thing myself because I wanted to find that spiritual comfort, probably, I don't know. So I switched to a Catholic school and I had a great experience. I love the nuns. They were very, very sweet, totally different from what people sometimes think. They used to give us cookies. They used to be very gentle. So I had a great experience in that school. I graduated from that school and I have great friends from that school. So for me, my relationship with God, it's with God. Beyond religion, it's with God. And for me, what I've learned is that God is my best friend. So I'm never alone. He's not expecting great things or bad things or nothing. He wants to be my friend, and I'm friends with him, and that's it. And we have great relationship.
Yeah, I'm spiritual, but I'm religious. Like I pray every day. I meditate twice a day. I've researched Buddhism a lot because I
Mhm.
like the religion, but I think it's a purely uh, it's a situation that it's goes it on each individual person is different.
Correct.
I think you need to go to church to be closer to God.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
just that's the way I've always been. One thing I wanted to ask you about the job. Um, when you have a client trying to help them out, how have you been having difficulty with getting them over there, or from where they currently live, or how is it easy or hard as that?
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you something that I tell to my clients. It's not me who gives the visas. So what I do is I help people to navigate within a legal system that it's strange to them. So I help them based on my experience and my knowledge. I help them to do or to present the best application possible. But in the end, it's the officer, the immigration officer, who decides. So they have very clear expectations about what I cannot, and what I cannot do. And yes, but having done this for some time gives you the possibility to see things and to create the strategies, legal strategies, totally valid, that help, you know, your clients. So, for example, and I'm going to share with you a win, because it was very special and it happened recently. I had a client consulting me, and she was pregnant, and she's Canadian, and she wanted to bring her husband, and she had several difficulties with her previous pregnancies, and she was, you know, very in such a big distress. And she told me, I need my husband with me, and he was already refused a visa, and I need to leave. And they were in Barbados, and she was like, I need to leave this country on May, and that was on February, March. That was on March, and she said, I need to leave right on May, because that's the last moment when I can travel because of my pregnancy, and I don't want to live without him. So she was very distressed, and husband, same thing. So, well, I met with them. I explained them the situation. I try to like set clear expectations about what we can and what can happen. So we send the application, and you know, based on what I know, I use some things that could help them, and the application was approved in something like 4 days.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was like, I was like, oh my God, this is not me. You know, this is not me. I'm just someone who facilitates, an instrument kind of thing, to facilitate what it was legitimate from them to ask. So I totally believe, you know, in energy, in God's power, and many other things. And for me, it was a little miracle, because once you are refused a visa, a second visa more likely is refused as well. And you know, a short processing time, it's difficult to obtain. But in this case, it happened. That doesn't mean that if I apply again for another visa, it's going to be like that. No, not necessarily. And I've had cases when I've been waiting forever, you know, forever, and, you know, contacting them and asking, and the client here, like, what happened with my process? And I was like, you know what? It's immigration from a country that receives thousands of people every year. So not everyone can have priority processing. So I think that in any profession, something key is to explain what's going to happen and be realistic about what you can offer, so that people knows, and, you know, even if things don't work the way they want, they are okay with it. They may be frustrated, they may be you know, sad about the outcome, because it's a lot that they put in, lots of expectations, but they knew beforehand that that could happen. So I think that's, you know, that's something that I've learned, and so far has worked well with my clients.
Okay. What was life in Ecuador like?
Life?
Yeah. What was it like there? I'm just because I don't know anything about it, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, so life in Ecuador was sweet. It was nice. I had my family. I have a big support system over there. I had, you know, my extended family. I had my circle. I had many things, but I don't know. There's some people that just feel that, you know, your place is somewhere else. So even though you have many good things in the place you were born, you just want to experience what's beyond.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like that, like, you know, like anywhere else in the world, Latin American countries have issues, and they are well known, but they still have many good things: the food, the weather, the nature. You know, it's especially Ecuador. It's a small country where you can go to the beach in like 3 hours, kind of like if you drive, you will be in the beach, and the beaches are beautiful. I love and I miss it so much. And you will have great food, and, you know, luscious forest, and we have the rainforest, and we have the Amazonia, you know, all the animals and all the beauty, and you have the Galapagos Islands, and I probably I sound like a travel agency, but it's true. Yeah, we do have so many beautiful things, and we have the highlands and huge mountains. Actually, Quito is nestled in a valley surrounded by volcanoes, active volcanoes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a country very interesting, and I highly recommend you, if you want to go, go and let me go and let me know, and I'll for sure make sure that you have a nice tour in the city. So Latin America and Ecuador, they have beautiful things, no complaints. There are some things that we need to improve, definitely. But for me, I always felt that my place was somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So at a very early age, I took, that I flipped that coin and went and immigrate.
What made what made you decide for Canada?
Oh, it's crazy because I was in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
and at that time I could have opted to ask for the permanent, not for the yes, for the permanent residence, because I was already living there for some time and there was a chance to do it. But one day, a friend of us told us. I remember him telling, "Why don't you check out Canada? If you are not planning to return to Ecuador, why don't you check out Canada?" And I remember very little before that about Canada. I just knew that Ottawa was the capital, and pretty much that was it. It was not a country well known for me. So I went to the internet and I started checking, and I just totally fell in love with the country. Not only because it's beautiful, but because the values of
Mm-hmm.
this country, I kind of like said, well, this is the place where I know I'm gonna feel at home. So I started the process. And I applied, and it took probably 5 years to be able to secure permanent residence. And
Mm-hmm.
all that time I was living in the U.S. Then I moved to Canada, and I lived here for some time. And when you immigrate, there are always harsh. There's a harsh period, but it's a learning experience. Then I went back to Ecuador, and I've been, because of work, traveling back and forward. So finally, I'm settled here in Toronto, and I'm very happy.
Good. Um, there's one thing I saw in your profile, in your little sent me, that I wanted to ask you about. Mm, Okay, I'm gonna read you something, and then I'll get your reaction to it. Okay, you okay with that?
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah.
She believes that joy comes from serving, having a purpose in life, living in agreement with your values, and exchanging energy with like-minded people. That really resonated with me and spoke to me. Can you just talk a little bit more about?
Yes, 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 yes. Well, this is the thing, and this is very related to that book that I have in the back, The
Yes,
Build to Serve, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
the one that I've read like 5 times.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is the thing. Sometimes we feel that something is off in our lives, and we don't really identify what's that it's off. And when you start kind of like analyzing why is that, most of the times it's because you're not living in agreement with your values. So, and sometimes we talk about values, honesty, and things like that, but there are so many other values, and most of all is what is important for you. That is your value. So when
Yeah.
you're not living in agreement with that, then you're not going to be happy. So, for example, for me, my one world is love. If in my life I don't have it somehow, then I'm gonna be not living in agreement with a very important value, and I'm not gonna be happy. And my credo is three words that are action, freedom, and grow or progress. So same thing. When I'm not tuned with those values, then I don't feel like 100% that I'm doing well, that I'm doing what I'm supposed to. So it is important to live and to understand and to discover what are your values. Sometimes we believe we are experts in ourselves, and we are not. There's so much we need to learn about us. And when you start in this personal development journey, you realize that. So that's one of the parts of what I said there. And the other thing is about serving. And it's true because I've experienced it. When you do things without completing the circle, I receive, I give, I receive, I give. If you don't have that in your life, something is incomplete. And the universe will notice. So you won't be able to really enjoy all what you have if you are not giving something at the same time. So you just, it's like it should be like nature should go, right? You receive, you give, you receive, you give, and you do it in a way to serve the best way you can. And we are, as people, we have different platforms. So find yours and try to do good, at least one good thing a day, one little action, and that will give you happiness. So it's kind of like how I see things.
I think you don't have to make incredible changes to be happy. I think you just have to make a little bit of change and do that consistently, and over time you'll be happy.
Yes.
Or you'll see the progress, and you'll start to be happy with the momentum and what you're doing.
I'm sorry, it's cutting a little bit.
I think I was saying you don't have to make a big adjustment or changes in your life. You have to do one thing that propels you forward and gives you momentum. And if you do that consistently, then eventually you'll be happy.
Yeah. Tell me about something you've been doing consistently, a little change, and that has made you happy.
Good question. Write every day. I write every day. I read every day, and I work out every day. Well, most every day. The working out I do Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
So those things are like the most important parts of the day, other than taking care of my wife and my dog.
Oh, I've heard you talking a lot about your wife.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. Give me a love advice. Okay. You are in a relationship with your wife, you love her. So if you will have chance to give a love advice, give one.
Laugh every day and just talk, be honest, and laugh. Because I think the two biggest things about me, about my happiness is, well, with regard to the marriage, I laugh every day and I get to be with my best friend every day.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I heard you saying that.
That's like that's the most important thing. And just be honest and talk. Because if you're not honest and you don't talk, communication and honesty are like two things that are so important in a relationship. If you don't have them, bye relationship.
Yes.
It just won't last.
Yes. Yes, it's true. It's beautiful, and it's lovely to hear from someone that lives with the love of his life and with the best friend. And I've heard you saying that many times, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that your wife feels her heart beating every time that she listens to you saying that, because it's important to show appreciation. I really believe that, like the silent type of love. I love her, but I never say it.
Yeah.
Or I appreciate my friend. If you really need to express it. It's important.
Yeah.
It's an important part of the relationship.
It's funny. There's been times, multiple times, when I couldn't help but say it. It just, and I think that's the best kind.
Mm-hmm. It's true. You know what? It's so sad, but even though my cell phone is connected to the power, I think I think I solved the problem. Seems like the cable was not properly connected,
Yeah.
because I'm watching the battery going down. But let's see. Well, we're gonna talk until you want to talk. Okay, so I'm on Friday. I'm okay.
I have 5 questions that I want to ask you, and if it dies before that, okay. What one thing in life would you like to eliminate for yourself, someone you love?
What is something that I would like to eliminate from my life?
No, eliminate from life for yourself or something you love.
Something that I would like to eliminate, like to change, you mean?
Yes, yeah.
Hmm.
Like, for example,
Okay.
racism, discrimination, poverty, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I I would like, yeah, I would like to eliminate lack of confidence.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because when you are confident, whatever little or big thing you have on you, you make it bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're not confident, everything looks, like under the rain. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter, you have this or that ability, you are beautiful or not, if you whatever, it doesn't matter. If you don't have confidence in you, nothing is gonna really work. But if you have it a little bit at least, then whatever you have, you will multiply it. So
Yeah.
if I can change something, and probably it's because I deal like in a daily base with people that want to do things, and they don't feel confident enough, and they kind of like doubt themselves, and they decide not to do things. And even like I think everyone experiences that. Sometimes we feel that lack of confidence, that so eliminating that, there's no limit for using your potential. So that's something that I will eliminate.
What gives you
I'm sorry.
what gives you your confidence?
What give me my confidence? I think I think that self-love.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I know that I'm a person with lots of flaws. I
Mm-hmm.
know that. But I know that I can improve. And even if sometimes, I have a little bit of mess in my life, it's okay, because I trust myself. I know that I can improve. And it's because I think that I was instilled with a healthy doses of self-love, and by my mother. And I don't know if it's something that you have it or not, I don't know. But I kind of like, when things go wrong, and sometimes they go wrong, I kind of like say, okay, you know what, you can do better.
Mm-hmm.
You can do better. So every morning I get into the shower, and I have this little ritual that I wash myself, and I wash the previous day. Whatever was bad, it goes away with the water.
Yeah.
And I say to myself, this is gonna be a better day for me, and I'm gonna get the things that I couldn't yesterday. And sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. But I want to say that. And from probably September last year, I added something additional to this ritual, which is I open the cold faucet. So I kind of like feel the cold of the
Mm-hmm.
water, and that kind of like wakes me up.
Mm.
So I've been doing it every morning, and it has become part of what I do. So I kind of combine that, that giving me that strength to continue, and to be not too harsh, because
Mm.
sometimes we are harsh with ourselves.
Oh yeah.
We are
Yeah.
harsh.
A lot.
And yeah. What about you?
I'm very harsh on myself. I'm my self-talk is not, I'm not nice to myself. But
Yeah.
I've had to learn how to change that.
Yeah. And listen, it's not matter of being complacent. I don't, because I like things to be good. I like things to work well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I push myself, but it's not something that, if you treat yourself bad, and sometimes I do. Like,
Yeah.
don't, it's not that I'm always giving myself love. It's not. Sometimes, I go into that dark side, and I go very deep. But I always try to pull myself out of it, because I know that nothing good is gonna get out of it. Okay, so it's not a matter of being complacent, not at all, but understanding maybe that we are humans, and sometimes we forget about it. Fire! We are on fire! Oh my god! Let's see. Well, that happens all the time here. Big building.
Where
What is it?
is that? In your house?
It's my office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this happens at least probably one or two every month.
Oh wow.
So, yeah.
What makes
Yeah, the unforeseen. Life is not perfect. Oh, I can't hear.
what?
I can't hear. Did you say
Oh,
something? I can't hear.
no, how,
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, Michael. I think we're gonna have to to cut because I cannot hear. I don't know if you listen. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like if it's vis- feasible to continue. I don't know.
go.
Yeah, because I cannot really hear
Okay.
much what you're saying. So I'm gonna do like a monologue here because I don't know if you're listening or not.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna say that this was a great conversation. I wish we could, keep talking a little bit more. And I'm really happy to having had this opportunity to talking with you.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Go and
Bye.
have your life. Bye, bye, San. I saw you. Bye.
Well, that was empowering discussions with the disabled man with Tanya Gonzalez. Thank you, Tanya, for taking the time to have a conversation with me. I'm sorry we couldn't finish it. I really enjoyed the time we had. Thank you for everyone for joining us. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.